All right, if you live in the state of North Florida, you know what it is. It's Wednesday night, and it's time for the extra point. We're not going to make any bones about the current state of football here in the state of, at least in Tallahassee right now on the college side. We're just going to leave that alone. But yeah, as far as I know, we are here for every high school matchup between I-75 going all the way back to the Emerald Coast. We're going to talk about all 41 schools if they don't have it, unless they have a bye week. And, hey, we wish them well. We got every other game broken down. We are in week number 9, and we have the same conversation, but it is amazing how fast the season has gone by. We are a mere 3 weeks away from the start of the playoffs, and some teams already have their spot locked up. There were some definite surprises last week. I'm kind of glad we didn't get a chance to make our regular picks, but it looks like there's just been an entire shakeup across what I would call, I guess, somewhere in Region 4A, where we still have we were having an interesting discussion before about there's still one team that can actually still get into the playoffs if everything holds steady for them. So we'll get into that a little bit later. We're going to break down some playoff matchups, potential hypotheticals, but it's going to be a great show. I got the whole squad here: Coach Cofield, Andrew Juke, Eddie Quinkers Jr. We are the extra point, and man, it was a rough Saturday. I felt like the wheels just fell off for our college teams. It's not going well right now.
Yeah, man, it was tough to be a Rattler. Real tough to be a no. I mean, the TCC win. I mean, it was bad. It was bad, and we're not used to that, right? We kind of spoiled because we consider ourselves city of champions. I mean, we got a lot of national championships in the city and a lot of you know success in football, and man, it wasn't pretty last week. It was not pretty at all.
Yeah, I thought we were going to skip on through, Mark. I didn't think we were going to talk about.
I am concerned. There's
Look at him.
man, them seats could not get hotter for Mike Norvell and for Coach Cozy right now. I'm not sure where you go from here. It's just one of those things where you look at both schools and they were both built to I would say at least compete for championships on their respective levels, and that's just not happening. You really have to wonder. I mean, for FAMU, the recruiting has gone way like just you don't hear the same number of guys making a commitment to the Hill right now, and it's just not the product's not showing up on the field. FAMU was absolutely embarrassed last week against Carolina Central, and in my opinion, that's just one of those where it's just like, man, you just got to wonder if things are going to be able to hold themselves together until the end of the season, and then you got to have some tough conversations because Cozy was supposed to be the guy that everybody wanted before the whole exit of the previous athletic director, and things started looking promising with Angie Suggs taking over. And just at both levels, I mean, it's just like, man, we probably going to end up seeing some brand new faces on the FAMU sideline soon enough. And then across the street, it ain't too much better. Norvell and the experiment with Gus Malzahn not kicking into gear right now. Then the defense.
Hey, don't talk about Gus. Hey, wait a minute. If you put 30 points on the board, you should win. 30 points is enough.
31 exact points.
I mean, anytime you get anything over 30, that is not Gus's fault. He put up the points. When I was coaching, and my defense coordinator told me, "Coach, you put up 3 touchdowns, we should win the game. That's all we care about." I mean, 31 points and you lose the football game? Come on, put up 30 points every week, and they lost 3 games in a row.
Yeah, and it's at this point for both teams, for Florida State, it's like that attempt in the last few minutes of the game, that doesn't mean anything. You were outperformed in the second half. You made, I think, a sophomore or junior quarterback look good, a returning receiver from injury, fantastic. On the other side, FAMU, you had an extra week to prepare for NC Central. It's not a conference game, but it could do you some justice to win against a team who is a favorite right now to win the MEAC, and you just got utterly humiliated. Half of the stadium was empty before halftime was even done. So that being said, and I know, Mark, you said last week they should take it easy with Mike Norvell and stuff. No. If the firing and letting go of James Franklin from Penn State is not a sign, then I don't know what is. This is
unfortunately, when you're spending that amount of money on one guy, yeah, it's gonna come. The stakes are gonna be high, and that the amount of and just honestly, all the stuff that's being built for the football only facility, that's actually coming in under Norvell's watch because they broke ground, I think, prior to COVID, and so all of that may have gone into they. I know they had plans for it during Taggart's tenure, but it's actually been come. They've actually got the facilities now that says that this is the kind of level we need to compete on. And when you make that kind of investment, I mean, if it were me, I like the guy. I think that, even though the rail started, they seem to come off. The season is still salvageable. They're not out of it. They can still make a decent bowl game, I think. But yeah, the national title hopes may have been a little lofty. I think they predicted FSU to finish 7-5 this year.
Yeah, I mean,
like 6-6, 7-5 at best. And I mean, that's going to be what the final outcome is. Yes, there is no ACC title or college football playoff hopes at all, but there is still hopes of course, that bounce back season. But what does that look like at the end of the season?
Yeah, you are what you are. Maybe those goals were a little too lofty.
Man, the expectations jumped up there when they beat Alabama. But realistically, going into the season, 7-8 win season was what people were expecting, and then, I mean, the expectation was so high, everybody's disappointed. But man, if they win 8-9 games, it's a pretty successful season for what you had from last year.
I think he's borderline. Yeah.
Say what now? What you say?
I said, yeah. I mean, 7-5 plus the bowl. I mean, 8 wins, yeah. But then again, it's like you still have some games that are very questionable. Even this Saturday, like I can't believe I have to stay up extra, like a few hours to watch a game on the West Coast, Florida State at Stanford. Who would have ever thought this would happen? I have to stay up till 9:30 for this game, and it probably won't be over till midnight. For you guys on the East Coast, you're probably going to go to bed at like 1 o'clock in the morning when this game is done.
I always go to bed at 1, so it don't matter.
Yeah, I think the problem is the perception and the rankings, gang. I think they got it all wrong, like Mark was talking about. I think the AP rankings are a little adjusted. You've got FSU losing to the top 3 teams in the nation. I think we've seen that very clearly. Miami's number 1, UVA's number 2, Pittsburgh's number 3, FSU, of course, number 4, and then Miami's sitting at number 5. I think the rankings are just kind of a little out of whack. But I see my Danny Cannell AP poll coming through. It starts to make a little sense sometimes. But yeah, you're in the worst possible situation. You fire the guy, you're another turnover, you kill 2 more years of recruiting, and then you're turning into that school in Central Florida that's just in a holding pattern for the last 20 years, or you throw down some money. What FSU needs to do is they need to start a new college, a college of oil refinement, and then they need to get some of that oil money that they got down in Texas. That way we can be throwing it around real wild style. Like
there's got to be a way to capitalize off of like Wakulla Springs or something like that. Like there's got to be some value down there. I mean, honestly, I say I mean, maybe this is a hot take, but I say you kind of got to keep them right now. I do think that buyout people are throwing that around way too. I don't know that's wise. And then who do you go get? I mean, that's really always the question. For Cozy, the situation could be way different. I think that just really is going to be determined just on how they finish the season. I don't see any decisions being made because FAMU is in an interim athletic director kind of scenario right now. So, Cozy may just be safe by default.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think what's going to be very crucial, and I don't listen, Rattler fans, don't come at me when I say this. I'm going to end it with this. The last game of the season, the Florida Classic, may look different this year. I'm going to let y'all know that right now. So that's going to be crucial.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You know what I mean, Coach. I'm not going to go any
You
further.
say it's going to look different? What's going to look?
It could probably look different. Did you see what them boys in Daytona Beach did to Southern? Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that.
Man.
Okay, to be Southern is 1-5.
Come on. Hey.
Fair. I'm not saying that there's a great brand of football going on in the SWAC aside from Alabama State and Jack, but there are multiple 1-5 teams right now. I think Alcorn is 0-6. I think Valley is 1-5. There's a few 1-5 teams in the SWAC right now. I don't know though. I think that number one, I hate the model that is just it's still such a narrow window that you're playing for. Like you lose 1 or 2 games in your division. And that would be my thing with the SWAC is get rid of the divisions. Just take your top 2 teams. I mean, even if it's not FAMU, I would still watch a rematch between Jackson State and Alabama State. That actually was a good game. It just adds more to the league, I think. Ultimately, my dream would be that the MEAC and the SWAC merge. I know that's not going to happen, but it seems like it would just be a better brand of football overall. But it is what it is. Man, last week number 8, there were a lot of fireworks as far as I was concerned. There were plenty of good games, of 1 or 2 kind of unexpected victories. But let's go ahead and jump into it. Scores from week number 8, and I was really, just kind of like, hey, this one right here between Florida High and Gadsden County, I would just call an instant classic. Man, we talked about in great length just how much Gadsden County just has become a very dangerous team, and even though that it does not go towards anything playoff contention wise, this was still an absolute great game. 20-19, and really for Gadsden County, I think this was just kind of like an emphatic exclamation point on after all the frustration from this season.
Man, that was a big surprise to me. But if you think about it, most of the players that Gadsden lost were on the offensive side. I think they got like 5, 6 D1s on defense, and they're gonna be in every game if they got those kind of players on the defensive side. And it looked when I had to stay up a little late to get this score because they didn't report it. I'm like, I wonder what the heck going on, because usually the home team reports the scores, and usually if a team loses, they take their time putting the score up. So I assumed the Gadsden had lost. But when I got this 20-19, I guess they were celebrating over there for their first victory, and they put the score up late. But a 20-19 score, a good defensive battle. Florida, congratulations. I don't even know who the head coach is over there. They put it together and beat a solid Florida team. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter playoff wise. Florida High district champs in the 2-team district, and so unfortunately, things are good. They're gonna have to just be happy with a victory.
Yeah, they can still hang the banner too, Coach. They got
district champs,
district champs, baby. But yeah, shout out to Gadsden. I know Gadsden's been getting a lot of heat and a lot of bad pub lately with everything that went down. But the game battled through, and you saw the adversity, and you saw them kind of starting to build some momentum the last couple of weeks. Even in this game, you had first offensive play of the game. I think it was Weems. He went the distance. So you had the house call. Gadsden's rolling. He gets hurt. So what do? They bring in one of those big dogs, Coach, that you talk about being on the defensive side. You got your defensive tackle playing quarterback, Braylon King. and he had a touchdown toss late, part of the 13 unanswered down the stretch, and this was a cool encapsulation. This was essentially, for lack of a better term, Gadsden's kind of bowl game, so to speak, obviously with no postseason upcoming, but I think they showed out in a big way, and then Kamari Crumity had to seal the deal on the goal line interception. This is a playoff game, playoff atmosphere against a team we know is good. Gadsden left it all on the table, so props to them. Adversity, not only season long, but within this contest. And you want to see, let's see if we can get some later game highlights, depending how far this runs through. Wait till you get to the offense. UCA, which they say he's 260. It looks like he's more 280. You see this giant man barreling down, coming out of working out of the pistol for your quarterback, Braylon King. That is a scary sight. If I'm a DB, I'm getting out of the way, gang. But shout out to your defensive tackle, offensive lineman getting in there and playing quarterback, all hands on deck. So it's really exciting to see, cool to see for Gadsden on a lot of levels, gang, knowing what has been going on there. So I think, Rose is deserved, especially given their situation.
Yeah, this makes me happy to see. I was leaving the USF North Texas game, and I was checking scores, and when I saw this, I'm like, oh, wow. And, yeah, props out to the
guy. See if I can find those offensive highlights. I can't seem to pick it up in the right spot.
Yeah, and I can tell fall is definitely setting in down there in North Florida. Very tough to see with the lens kind of being foggy. And so, but yeah, props out to the Gadsden County Jaguars. This is what I like to call, again, one of those signature wins and something that they could build on going into the rest of the season and potential offseason. Because, I mean, some of this talent I see returning. And best believe this team is going to come back more fierce. But, yeah, props out to the Jaguars. Huge win over Florida High.
Yeah, for me, I think the biggest, and yeah, to Juke's point, yeah, when you've got somebody of that size at quarterback, it definitely throws a team off guard. Florida High has done such a great job defensively over the years. I don't know that they've ever been the biggest team. Definitely they've been the most physical. But Florida High, this is just one of those where it's just like, man, it was right there on the bubble again. And they've been in some close games. They've come out on the winning side of those. But I think Gadsden just came in and just, took the best shot that they could, throw to Florida High, and they were able to come out with a victory, 20-19. But yeah, the playoff implications are already set. Florida High is still your district champions by virtue of Gadsden County not being able to compete in the postseason for this year. But for Coach Hickman, I mean, this is not somebody that wants to take the L. He wants to go back, fix things. I think you'll see a different Florida High team coming back out next week. But quite a few teams, and the Seminoles are one of them. They've had some injuries here and there, and there is still I think they've had a few guys come back. Yes, this is Braylon King.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we might be able to. I think we might be able to show him some love as soon as the video pulls up.
Yeah, no free advertising. We don't want to see those commercials. They're not paying the extra point.
Right. But no, yeah, I mean, and I was trying to pull up his vitals, but he is. I'll see if it'll let me bring it in. But yeah, no, this was definitely an outstanding performance. Much better quality video at that.
Yeah, he's listed as 6'1", 260, gang, but it feels like a 6'3", 280 situation when you look at him on highlights. I don't know if that's just optics in comparison, but he can get it going. He's like a runaway train. Okay, there's the pass, touchdown late, and that was a good
pass. Beautiful football, by the way.
Okay, here it is. Watch this QB sneak. This is the
He's
one.
definitely solid. Like you can see, this is not somebody you gonna try and just bring down. You're gonna have to gotta wrap up. You with somebody like that. But yeah, when you get chunks of yards like that, it's very easy to see.
You're making career decision tackling him.
Yeah. Yeah, so these are some of the other highlights they're sprinkled in of him playing, obviously, his primary positions. But that was cool to see and all part of a cool story, of course, with a little bow on it with the victory.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, Florida High still your district champion, but Gaston County comes out the winner of this one with a 20-19 win over Florida High, keeping it rolling. This one, Coach Kofi, I'm going to let you go ahead and take it away on this one, man. This one was a doozy. Bay pulls out.
Oh, man. That
an
was
incredible 38-37 victory over West Florida. And they were on the road at that. So, Coach, I'm gonna let you go ahead and talk about this one.
Man, I watched this game, man. Bay was impressive. They were down by a couple of scores, and in fact, I turned away from it for a little while, and came back, and I saw it was one score, and I'm thinking, man, coaches they're making a comeback, and they scored a tying touchdown with 16 seconds to go in the game, and then they went into overtime, scored first, and I have to give props to West Florida. They scored a touchdown, and instead of tying the game up, they went for two and didn't make it. So I'm impressed with coaches who going for the win. He didn't try to tie it up, but Bay came back from a deficit to come back and win this game. It was a heck of a game, man. I know people on the edge of their seats watching it, because I did. I was sitting there and I was like, man, I made a mistake. I turned to something different. And when I got back, Bay was moving the football, and they looked like they couldn't in the fourth quarter. I think I'm not sure. I thought they scored like 19 points or so in the fourth quarter, and they were behind the whole game, and then decided to play football in the fourth quarter. Congratulations to Coach Brown. I enjoyed watching the game, and then it's impressive going in. We're talking playoffs. The Bay High is going to be a tough out if they play like this every week. Because that was an impressive game, very impressive.
Yeah, that was huge. And, of course, it was the de facto district championship. Of course, winner would go on to kind of clinch the automatic spot. But, yeah, to your point, Coach, Xavier Morgan turned it on late. He was playing hero ball. He had a crazy scramble and about a 40-yard touchdown pass. But to your point, I thought the game was over. Benson rips off that big run in the beginning in the fourth quarter. Yeah. So it puts up Bay's down 24-7 with less than 8 minutes to go. So you're thinking, all right, it's 2.5 scores, and they keep chipping away. Both teams light it up in the fourth quarter. It gets crazy out of control. Xavier Morgan almost had a 40-yard rushing touchdown as well, but just all out, just keep it going. 24-7 they trailed, and then it was I think 4 minutes to go. They trailed 31-15, back and forth, 2-3 scores in the fourth quarter. Somehow they got it even. To your point, Coach, I do respect West Florida going for two, because I think they know that Bay was just so hot down the stretch. Bay could have gone 7 or 8 overtimes. They just turned into a scoring machine in the fourth quarter.
Man, that was impressive. Very impressive.
Yeah. One of those games that will never end, and goes to show you the excitement we've had. Look at that. 2 games already now back-to-back where someone has now won by a point. What else are we going to see as we continue to move forward? But, yeah, Bay High, looking forward to seeing how this team will be come playoff time, man. They have excitement written all over them.
Man, it was impressive because they had to score right there with seconds to go in the fourth quarter, and they scored with 16 seconds, and then they went for 2. They had to go for 2 to tie the game, and they threw a pass. I think it was in the back of the end zone. I was like, man, what a game! I was like, Coach, I feel pretty good about it. And when you behind and you come back, the momentum is in your favor. It is in your favor. Everything is in your favor. And I understand why West Florida went for 2, because you didn't want to have to fight that momentum. If you could finally just get a play and take the lead and win the game right then, would have been a smart thing to do. Oh, that's some great highlights then.
Bay has incredible speed. Like they are arguably, I mean, just watching them on defense and on offense, they have, I mean, them dudes are fast. Like they get to the ball. What they're able to do in space is very impressive. They pick up huge chunks of yards. The passing game is, I mean, they're a threat to score from pretty much anywhere on the field. I do think that one of the things that stands out to me is just how and Coach Brown kind of mentioned this when we spoke to him last year about this same group of kids. He just said, "Man, they just it doesn't look like it now, but these dudes are talented. Just in the amount of like you don't know which person is going to be the playmaker."
Look at that run! Look at that run!
Look how he dove into the end zone. I think he jumped from the 5-yard line.
Yeah, they didn't actually give him that touchdown. I say you gotta give him that one.
Yeah,
I'm about to say.
I thought so too.
Yeah, it looked like a touchdown to me. And then throws the ball just before getting sacked.
That's the one. That's the one. Their first score. This is the one. That one.
Sports Center top 10.
Yeah, it was an impressive game. I think for Bay, they just proved how dangerous they are going into the playoffs. I think I would give this team, as much, the amount of respect that I think that they've done to earn it. They've got a great shot at making a deep run into the playoffs. And this is where, I had a chance to talk to Mosley Dolphin head coach, and we'll get to that game in a minute, Coach Tommy Joe Whitten. And, I just was explaining how, like, man, for so long, Bay County has just been kind of dormant. And now to see 3 emerging teams coming out of the area, just kind of see the resurgence of Panama City football has just been a great thing to see. I have always felt like when you've got a couple of good Tallahassee teams, you got some good Big Bend teams, some Panhandle teams, and then you throw in Bay County along with Columbia, who's also having a great season. It speaks to the area that, like, yeah, there's still legit football here. There's teams with a definite threat to not only be in a championship game but also win it. That was a beautiful pass.
Hey, look at you're down 16 with less than 3 minutes to go.
Yeah. It was
now
like 31-15 and now 31-23. Wow, look at this comeback that we are witnessing. And these are the kind of games that'll give you a heart attack, gentlemen. I kid you not.
Great crossing pattern. I think I saw a different shot from Twitter where the play really just crossed right in front of him. I mean, he ran a great route in the back of the end zone. And yeah, this roster is impressive. And if you look at the look how the offensive line just keeps the quarterback protected. Just really a great win for Bay High as they take and I believe their district is wrapped.
It is.
They're good. They're in.
Yeah. So that's another team that just really has the I would say they've got the right remaining schedule too, and we'll look ahead in our next segment. But that was probably the most entertaining game of last week.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, definitely.
All right, moving on. This game had my attention as well, but did not go the way I thought this one would have been a little bit closer. Did not go Taylor County's way. They fall to a very, very powerful Chiefland ground game, 30-15. Taylor County falls to 6-1, and Chiefland is for real, y'all. That was I know Dorset Stadium was packed. It was just a great atmosphere, but Chiefland came and they pretty much handled business against the Bulldogs with a 30-15 win.
Yeah, it was kind of surprising me. I thought it was going to be a closer game. I thought that Chiefland being undefeated and these 2 undefeated teams, it would be a closer football game. But Chiefland looked like the team they had, and it was momentum going into the playoffs. Also, when you win, all you want to do is keep doing it, and it looked like they're doing that. Tough. And I hope that, one day I get to go back. I had some great hamburgers in Chiefland a long time ago. It was a great place to get the concession stand. I'm giving them a shout out at the concession.
There you go with the food again, Coach.
Hey, I
You
used to
gotta
go
eat.
around. I
I
used to
know, I
go.
know, I know.
You don't know. I used to go to stadiums all over the southeast, man, and I was comparing everybody's concession.
Don't
No,
give
man.
away the preview to the next show. It's
Oh, okay.
basically diners, drivers, and dives, but Coach Cofield style, where we
Yeah.
just follow you around and you hit every
Yeah.
concession. Yeah.
Yeah, it was tough. Chiefland got out to that early lead. They had the turnover. They had the fake punt. So they got out to that 13-0 lead. I think Demore Sweet was kind of a one-man wrecking crew for the Indians. He was doing it all three phases. He's legit. And I think Chiefland, as you look at the structure for rural, you start to see kind of an emerging six teams. Um, I would say, and I think Chiefland's in your top six. I think we were kind of looking at a pocket of kind of a top four, but Chiefland's definitely convinced me that they're a legit threat here in the rural scene. I think Taylor's still around for sure when we think about that top six, top eight. But it's gonna be a fun ride in rural, gang. Something that we've kind of been playing out. But I think Taylor kind of be around, and I think this is a great time to pick up a loss against a good team. And I think this kind of switches your gears kind of down the stretch. I'm excited to see how Boswell and the boys respond going forward, or Braswell, excuse me, Braswell and the boys respond going forward.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked and in a way sad to see Taylor County come up short in this one. And as we check out some highlights from it, seeing how this 21-yard pass goes, nice. But definitely Chiefland is a for real program. This was just one of those games to who wants the win more. And yeah, Chiefland got it. But it's not to say that Taylor County, it hurts, but the season continues, and we'll see this team finish strong to get higher up in those playoff rankings, as you mentioned, Jupe. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think Coach and I talked about this. There's sometimes these are the games that put you back on the get right path, and I think for the differences between good teams and great teams is that the good teams, you keep seeing some of the same problems pop up in later games. They may manage to win, but you still see symptoms of the same issue. Great teams, they just shake it off, they fix the issue, and they go back to doing what they do. And I think Taylor County has a great uh, remaining schedule to allow them to do that. This may be the loss that actually sets them back on a upward trajectory again.
Yeah, that helps. Sometimes you got to refocus. Sometimes you get used to winning. Things go your way. Everything that breaks, fumbles, everything go your way, and then somebody comes along and humbles you, and then you like, let's go back to work and practice. And I'm sure practice was pretty good this week. Coach could fuss at him, because you're winning. Kids tend to things go in one ear and come out the other. Like, okay, here he goes again with all this. You got to be this and you got to be that. But when you lose, you got their attention, and they gonna work hard, and I'm sure correct those problems. Sometimes the coach likes to go. I'm going by myself. When we win, that's when I'm the worst. I'm looking for mistakes all over the place. When we lose, I give them some credit, but then I'm writing down everything we did wrong, and that's all we're gonna work on in practice that week. We're gonna fix that problem, and I'm sure it's no problem this week.
Yeah, the big story in this one was that Chiefland actually threw the ball in this game. Uh, Wykel Howard had a touchdown pass, 22 yards, that proved to be one of the deciding factors in Chiefland running away with this one. Demore Sweet is normally their main workhorse, and he still went off for 110 yards and two touchdowns. But yeah, sometimes hey, it's just not your night. You come out, you throw everything, and they were just a little bit better than you. But knowing the way Coach Braswell runs the program, this is a team that's more than likely you're going to see them back in the mix. It is very realistic looking at Taylor County's schedule, and we'll get to their upcoming game. But the way it works out for the Bulldogs is that they still have Swanee, Mariana, and Leon. And that's how they close out the regular season. All on with the exception of Swanee, they get the Bulldogs at home next week, but they close out on the road against Marion and Leon, and everything's still in front of them. I think they have a great chance at finishing the season with just the Chiefland loss. So we'll see how things unfold. But Taylor County falls to Chiefland 30-15. And, you know, yeah, Juke, to your point, the rule is going to be a pretty fun one to watch moving forward. There's just too many good matchups on the horizon.
Yeah, especially when you got the 16 teams, you got the full spread. That bubble is wild right now.
Seeding going to be important.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about this one. This one was another doozy of a game. Man, this one was just wild because the way that the overtime win for the Dolphins, 42-36 over Niceville, man, we still talk about how, you know, Niceville just one of those tough places to play. Don't let the Eagles record fool you. The stadium by itself is worth a pair of touchdowns. But Mosley going in and just not flinching, I think, was the biggest thing. Had a chance to talk to Coach Whitten earlier in the week, and he just basically had a ton of praise for his interior group, the offensive line. This was just grit and determination on their part. This really wasn't anything fancy outside of what they do, but just sheer, just not coming home without the win. And with the win, they secured the district. And, you know, this is everything that, you know, Coach Whitten talked about as far as going backwards. They had the early loss in the season in week number 2. That we were trying to make the same analogy for Taylor, where, you know, that loss actually signals some things that allowed them to go on what is now a 5-game win streak. So Dolphins sitting at 6-1 with everything in front of them in a really favorable schedule going down the stretch too. But just a great matchup. This is instant classic, definitely what you wanted to see, but their remaining schedule goes Arnold, Gulf Breeze, and then closing out the season at home against Florida High in an interesting matchup. But yeah, we talked about Land and Adam Land and Sammy Chisholm going off in that game. They're just Mosley has so many people that you got to contain. 2 tight ends, quarterback looked really good, and man, Dolphins were able to just survive and go home with the dub.
Not surprised at the victory. Mosley's been very consistent. Niceville's been up and down. Mosley's been very consistent. They got Land is just one of the most impressive. They put him at tight end, but he looked like a wide receiver. Because when they played here in town against Ricketts, there was nobody on the field to cover him. And I'm sure he's having a great season. When you got a weapon like that can go all over the field, man, he was impressive. Mosley doing what they want to do. Coach Whitten has had a lot of success at Mosley. This just another step. And when you talked about that Florida High game, I think that's a revenge game for Mosley because last year they were undefeated, went to Florida High and lost their first game, and then lost in the first round of playoff. Kind of sent them down a bad track. So looking forward to the rest of the season with these guys. Not surprised at the victory. Like you said, Niceville is a tough place to play. Very difficult. You know, the fans support Niceville. And I think Coach Whitten, didn't he go to Niceville? He got some – I'm sorry.
I had a great conversation with the guy. I don't want to go messing things up. No, yeah, he had a fit in Niceville.
Man, you told us last year.
People. Yeah, great relationship with those guys out there.
Man, you want to beat your hometown. You know, that's anybody. You always want to beat your school.
He's got a point.
This was wild, though. You knew something was going to be in the water. The Panhandle games were just insane this week. We talked about the Bay West Florida game. We had this game. They're both 35+. They're both overtime. Craziness. You had a pick 6 to start this game off. I think it was Tercero runs it back, 6-0, so Niceville's up. And then they start turning over in the second quarter. That's when Mosley makes their run. And then Niceville starts storming on the comeback here in the second half. We get this thing to overtime. Evidently, during one of the plays, the referee is losing his shoe, trying to keep up with the game. Wow. It's just a chaotic environment out west, which lended itself to entertainment, I think, from both sides, but especially the neutral fan and at the end of the night, Mosley. But this is just one of those wild Panhandle high-scoring affairs, gang.
I feel like I'm watching another like Big 12 conference title, a Big 12 game, and look at this instantly. Way to go get that ball and just take off downfield and avoid getting
That's
tackled.
speed.
And still on his feet. Wow. Look at that.
You sound like you're calling the game, man.
Nashville had a great comeback effort because Mose exploded in the second quarter, had a 23-point second quarter, and looked really in control going into halftime. And then back comes Niceville. But yeah, Mosley able to outlast the Eagles in overtime, and it was just a great just kind of scenario that allowed them to really just kind of clip Niceville. It's one of those things, if you can come out of Niceville with the win, I think Lincoln did it a few years back. It's just one of those things where you just add it to just a feather in the cap, like, man, we won at Niceville. But for Coach Wooden, I think the biggest thing for them was making sure that they have everything in front of them. And this was one of their big goals starting when we spoke at Media Day, was just, hey, we want to make sure that this is one of our goals. We got to win the district to be able to set ourselves up with the home field advantage to be. And I think they definitely want to end up back where they were with that first round home game. But I think this team has a little bit more experience than last year's team. I think they understand kind of how you sustain that winning attitude is what he talked about. So, but yeah, exceptional win by the Dolphins. They put what I would like to say, they really put Wholesome Bake, the quarterback, just kind of filling in at the beginning of the season. We didn't really see very much of him, but 27 of 44 for 333 yards. Had a pair of interceptions, but was able to kind of, settle down, especially in the overtime period, and Mosley able to pull away 42-36 over Niceville. But yeah, we talked about their schedule a little bit. Dolphins got a favorable schedule, but this one, man, it was just a great game. Great game. Moving on to other scores from around the area. This one had my attention early on, but just a great this one was just a great game that I didn't really see this one coming. But Port St. Joe falls to Chipley. And, this one, Port St. Joe was at home. And that one was kind of the thing that got me. And Chipley just in a dominating fashion, 29-14, and very convincingly over Port St. Joe. This could potentially be, kind of I don't want to say a rematch, but there's a chance that these two could meet again in the playoffs.
Yeah, this is a nice matchup, panhandle matchup. Chipley get back on the winning track. Struggled a little bit. I think that was last week they lost, and got back on the win. Going into Port St. Joe, which is another difficult place to play, and doing that thing. That when we look at some of these matchups, some of these teams are going to be seated in a manner they might be seeing each other twice. In the same year. Which you better get as much information as you can. Just because you win in regular season, that don't mean nothing when the playoffs come.
Absolutely.
Yeah, this could be one of those, like you said, Coach, as well as the previous one. But yeah, we look at it a couple weeks ago. It seems like we got a common theme. We've got upsets, shakeups, and get rights. So we had the upset, so we thought of Chipley. We kind of shook them up a little bit, and we keep talking about these other teams bouncing back and how it kind of right the ship. It's like, okay, now we're not undefeated anymore. We don't have to worry about the papers, the media, that whole circus. So now it's just, hey, let's play ball. Let's get locked back in. And you see Chipley, to Coach's point, last couple of weeks putting it together, really great effort. And, where we may have taken a dip on Chipley or started to ask some questions, I think they've answered those questions effectively. And once again, that Chipley defense holding an opponent to 2 scores or less, I believe have not allowed more than 2 scores all season. I say that, I should check that schedule, and that is incorrect. Rutherford got 26 on them, but outside of that Rutherford game, have not allowed more than 2 scores.
They have not given up more than a pair of touchdowns to the, especially at the rural level. Mm-hmm. And that includes Linden from across the state line and NFC. But this team, that was a great response to the Holmes County loss. I think sometimes especially when you get the bye week came at an interesting time for them because it was after the loss, and you can definitely tell they came out with being able to fix a lot of those problems. I mean, it just going into Port St. Joe is not easy. That's a tough out too for a lot of visiting teams. And for Chipley to be able to go in there, a tough place like that, and come out with a victory, that says a lot. Their schedule goes Destin, Jefferson County, and Lafayette to close out the year. So still hill to climb there, especially at the end. That's going to be a big one against the Hornets. But Chipley improves to 6-1 over Port St. Joe, and that was just a really good showing by the Tigers. Nobody really went over 100 yards. It was just good old-fashioned, hard-nosed football. But Jacoby McKinney, a pair of touchdowns, and then Caden Coltrane also responsible for getting in on one of those. Malik Henderson carried the ball for 76 yards, did not get in the end zone, but still a major contributor. And Chipley right now is just really in great position. All right, let's go ahead and jump to next game. Wakulla, your district champion, with a great win over the Godby Cougars. I think that one was 38-14.
38-21 according to
38-21
according to the scoreboards that I was keeping track of. I was also listening to this on good old Wave 94.
Oh, that's
with
right.
Chris Avery.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Yes. For those who don't know, I do work with Wave 94, home of Wakulla War Eagle football. Yeah. This was good. Owen Cleese had quite the game. I think about 170 passing yards, like 3 or 4 touchdowns. And the game started out pretty even from the highlights that I saw between Wakulla and Godby. It was a pretty close first half. I think it was Wakulla was only up by like 3. But then the War Eagles just outperformed Godby in the third quarter, like scoring 14 unanswered points, kept them scoreless in there, and then just pretty much rode away with the game on that 38-21 win. There was a moment where Godby looked like they were about to get some momentum and come back, but Wakulla had already gone ahead. I mean, Owen Cleese is just something to watch on the field. And he's got such playmakers around him, from the receiving game to the running game. This Wakulla team is definitely found its rhythm despite a rocky start to the beginning of the season. Look at them now, district champs, and got a spot secured in the Class 3A state playoffs.
Man, this matchup goes back, and when you look at Godby, this has been a rocky season for them. Started the season off with issues with players, transfers, all kind of things. Really, it's tough getting started, and then it looked like they righted the ship for a little while. But they go to Wakulla. Wakulla struggled at the beginning of the season, and they go and play Wakulla, and look like Wakulla got it together. I mean, it wasn't easy for them. This usually is a tough game, but look at them. Look, winning the district. Congratulations once again to Coach Cleese getting this thing together with his kids, man. And it's always tough playing them. Always a tough game.
Yeah, these district games have been awesome the last couple of years. The Wakulla defense showed up big time. That was another thing, being able to kind of limit Godby. You know, there were a couple instances where Simmons kind of got loose, and then, McMillan had his touchdown. But I credit the Wakulla defense really doing a solid job. From what I've seen, that's been kind of the momentum or the theme within this district. And there is a chaos scenario when you look at the game next week that because of the late game heroics from Baker County, we were going to shut the door on this being the district championship. But with a Baker County win next week over Wakulla, we jump in potentially to a 3-way tie atop the district. We would go back to the points as our tiebreaker, with each team within the top 3 being tied 1-1. So there's still a side door where Godby gets out and repeats as district champions. It'll be a little bit of an interesting ride, and Baker County still holds some cards here. But yeah, good to see the Wakulla defense shaping up, and I'm sure the War Eagle faithful are liking that. And they sustained drives, gang. Yeah. They nickeled and dimed down the field, methodical, and the Godby defense was on the field a lot.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things I noticed is that Wakulla they seem to just pick up at very incremental points, huge third down conversions just to keep the Godby defense on the field. And one of the drives started inside of their own 10, and they ended up converting. And I think it ate up like 4 or 5 minutes on the clock. And that's just, you can't have that where your defense is on the field that long.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It's tough when the defense still stays out there a long time. It's tough. The offense sitting over there on the sideline, anxious to get back in the game, and then you get a team to drive and control the clock. It is tough to win a football game like that because you make one mistake, you might not get the ball back for 6 or 7 minutes.
Right.
Yeah, I think, was it only 1 or 2 punts? To Mark's point, third down conversion was really solid here for Wakulla to sustain those drives.
That'll drive me crazy.
Owen Cleese, man, he is something of wonders for that offense.
It's coach's son. Makes a difference.
I don't want to just say it's also that, but
it is that. I go home. You go home with me every day. And we talking football. I'm in your head for a little kid. If you notice, coaches' sons, they always you can almost always count on them, especially at quarterback. Okay. That's an advantage. If mama don't stop you from talking football at the dinner table,
it is interesting, Jupe, to your point, just to see how certain things could shape up. But this was one of those where I was surprised. I was expecting a closer game, but we ended up with something where Wakulla just kind of wore Godby down defensively and just walked away with this one. So there's still a scenario where you were talking about where things still in the district points wise, that's just the craziness we live in. But Ms. Jones, we're going to get to your comment in a minute. I don't know where Jefferson sits, but we're going to talk about that in just a minute. We'll get to the Tigers in the second half of the show. But as we continue to roll through, this is one of those games where you kind of have to take a look at, you're not really safe until the FHSA rankings say you're safe. So,
yeah.
For right now, Walker is definitely in the driver's seat, though.
All you got to do is ask Jupe. We're going to have a special segment. Ask Jupe for the answer. He knows all the playoff stuff. Text him.
That's how you get into trouble. You start asking me questions. That's when I know you got problems. Yeah.
All right, let's jump to our recap game. That, man, I just was very impressed with this one. Liberty County takes it over Cottondale in dominating fashion. Don't look now, but the Bulldogs are one of the top teams in the rural classification right now, sitting at 5-2. They've got a reasonable schedule in front of them to close out the remainder of the season. They go, because they have a built-in bye into the remainder of the season, they go Jefferson County and Hilliard. And so, there's a good chance that Liberty could end up with the 7-2 record on the year. This is a team that really, the beginning of the season was up and down. They absolutely got annihilated opening up against Bluntstown, the juggernaut that is Bluntstown. It took another stumble at Port St. Joe, but everything else has been domination from the Bulldogs. They've been able to kind of stymie teams a little bit, but they've been consistently hanging 45 and 45, around 40 points a game. And so for the Bulldogs, the offense seems to be the key, and it definitely was last Friday as they took it to Cottondale. Defense stepped up big, kept the Hornets out of the end zone, and they're explosive too. So that really impressed me with Liberty's win is that they held another explosive team in check.
Man, that's another exciting panhandle matchup. Liberty seemed to just turn the corner mid-season and started it. I mean, they playing some great football. Uh, Started off a little rocky, but hey, lately, man, they are tough out. I would have never thought at the beginning of the season they would do Cottondale the way they did them. Uh, to blow Cottondale out. Cottondale's a pretty decent football team. Had some good victories during the season, but to get manhandled like that by Liberty, that says a lot about the quality of football played at Liberty County.
Yeah, and I feel like Mark has kind of been he's been kind of saving us, but also he's like the ambassador for Liberty County. He called it kind of early on, ever since they bounced back, telling us about Hare and Marlowe kind of getting things done offensively, like we talked about. I mean, this isn't your granddaddy's wing T Liberty County I formation. They're fun to watch. The offense has got going on. I love how they can win physical. We saw that in a close contest against Steeds. You see how they can kind of go up and down with a team against Cottondale. We know who's exciting. And how about the defense? Nobody had held Cottondale to just 2 scores all season. They go ahead and did it. They were able to shut them down, which has been a problem for everybody this year. So I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing from Liberty County. You look at the 2 losses, Port St. Joe down in the Joe and Bluntstown. And we know what Bluntstown is. So don't sleep on Liberty County.
Yeah, to add to your point on that, it's good that those 2 previous games that they had is going to help in the long run. But I really thought this game would be close only because of how good Cottondale was playing at the beginning of the season. But it seems that the Bulldogs did not want that to happen. Look at the defense right here. Look at that leaping for the interception. Good hands play. But yeah, Liberty County definitely going to be something exciting to watch as we get close to playoff time.
Yeah, this was one of those where you have to just give credit where credit is due. The Bulldogs' defense was really the star of the show. Yeah, keeping this high. Yeah, that 2 points. Cottondale was good for 60 plus in increments. Earlier in the season, I think they had a pair of games. One of the things when you look at just how this team has come together, these kids have been actually playing together for a little bit. And I think that really has where we've talked about how the Bulldogs have really turned it on of late. This team is a lot more experienced than they have been in years past. A lot of these kids took their lumps over the past couple of seasons and are now able to, this upperclassman, the upperclassman over there at Liberty is just in great position right now. They've still got. We'll have to go to the point system a little bit later on in the show. We'll have some conversations, but yeah, Liberty in great position. Their schedule has them in a very favorable spot moving down the stretch, and you can just see, man. Anytime you can eat up huge chunks of yardage like that, great running attack, and great defensive play. They look really balanced going into their last few games of the season.
Absolutely, man.
So yeah, you see the final for that one. Cottondale actually outgained them, which is crazy. But yeah, Liberty in really good position as we get into the other scores. I'm gonna just read these off real quick before we jump into our next segment. Great Friday night football. A lot of what we saw was just teams really just trying to wrap up their district. I think I missed one. Hang on. I'm not sure if we got a chance to get to all of them just yet.
Lincoln Charles.
Yeah, definitely don't want to forget about Trojans on 3838 Trojan Trail. A lot of what a lot of what I saw in that particular game was Charles really coming out with their best shot, but not being able to just, run with Lincoln like that. I'm gonna see if I can just jump straight to the highlight of the game. But Trojans definitely had a chance to kind of solidify things, and the stranglehold that they have on their district is just, it's just not going away. Lincoln once again is your district champion.
Mark, this was a close game. It was 21-21 at halftime.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Lincoln just took over the second half. Charles battled all the way. They got a dominant running game in Charles. I mean, it's impressive to see them run the football. It doesn't matter who they're playing. And you thought, it would end up a little better than it did. But it was 21-21 at halftime. And Lincoln looked like he said, okay, let's stop playing around. Let's take over the game and put the game away.
And they started to get that run game going, Mark, with the Lincoln balance came up big. Huggins went over for 100, had a couple big rips I know one of them went for 40 plus. And then, of course, I mean, you know what TJ Jr. is doing. Jacobs was going off a little bit, and then the defense started off strong in that second half. But you start to see with that Lincoln balance just how dangerous they can be. So good to see Lincoln get a bounce back after a couple tough results. And Childs, to your point, Coach, Cadet and Clark, I think, or is the gruesome twosome on the ground. They can run the ball behind that line. And Childs, this might – so they didn't get the district right, and I think it was, 9 straight now, dropping to Lincoln. But this feels
they could
like
get in.
Team,
they could get in.
I don't want to say it, but this feels like the team, if that makes sense, that we've been last 4 or 5 years.
Special segment, Ask Jew.
Yeah, all in due time as we get closer to the playoff chase. But to add to your point, yeah, it's tough to stop a good running game, man, because once a good running game gets rolling, there's no stopping it, no matter what you throw at it. And that's what Lincoln was able to do in the second half. When you are just a well-balanced team that knows how to make adjustments, that is dangerous, even going into the playoffs. So, yeah, props out to the Trojans yet again, still having the stronghold on that district, which is not changing anytime soon. But then again, I don't know, because we are coming up on 2 years, and the districts and classes do change every 2 years, if that's still a thing. Am I right, Jupe, or no?
Until they change it, but who knows what that means. But yeah, I would anticipate another one coming up soon.
Yep.
Lincoln and Childs probably always been the same.
As they should. You'd want that.
2 biggest schools in the area.
Maybe Rickards moves up and joins them. Never know. You never know.
Well, I think one time Rickards had more students than they would like to. Garby used to have a bigger school amount of students, and that changed. Rickards got kind of past them, so no telling how they send those kids, where they put them, what area they come from.
Yeah, it's very interesting how the FHSAA has done things throughout these past 2 decades, I would say, as far as how they've rearranged things and everything. And now it's not just student population. It's now, what is your school label? Are you more on athletics? Are you more on agriculture and technology? Are you all about liberal arts, performance arts, all of that stuff that goes into it? It's a headache now that I think about it.
It doesn't matter. Just play ball, baby.
All right, there we go. Now we got the highlight up. And there's a little bit of delay.
And this game was at Childs. I was right. I said that. I said about this last week.
Yeah, we're in a different era where you can actually truly host a home game,
which is a rarity.
And Childs Stadium holds the rare distinction of being the other venue in the county that they deem, which is a shame, because when you look at the visitor side, that really is not going to hold Lincoln's fans.
I remember Rickards took up the band took up half of that away side. It was unbelievable. That, like, about 10 years ago now, when they played on that campus.
Yeah, Childs really felt like they had Lincoln figured out in the first half.
Yeah.
And just looking at some of the kind of offensive plays that they ran, Lincoln was really matching them, athlete for athlete. But man, see the reverse feel, and then the kick goes to the house.
That was special.
Was that a reverse on the kickoff?
He just reversed field.
No, he just changed field.
Oh, wow.
That was special.
But yeah, as you can see, it was pretty tight in the first half, and then Trojans were able to pull away. It to me, it speaks more to the evolving of Childs as a team. I think they really proved a lot for a lot of people expected Lincoln to win this game, but I think Charles, really kind of turned some heads in this one. They've been doing that all season long, man. They've been playing. They had the great they had a great win over Wakulla early in the season on the road. For Charles, I think they definitely didn't anticipate, having a couple of letdowns earlier. I think the Godby game would kind of, derail them a little bit, but being able to kind of be in a position where they really pushed Florida High to the brink week before, that was another great matchup where special teams just kind of, one kick away. But for Childs, this has been a fantastic season for them. They still are in good position. They have Leon after their bye, which they're off this week, and then they close out against Sewanee. So everything's still in front of Childs as far as things are concerned. But Lincoln was a victor in this one.
Touch pass.
Boom. When the cameraman didn't follow it, but you kind of saw what was going on.
Yeah, that's a very tough press box to film at, if anybody that goes to that stadium. But yeah, this was a good game, and I'm a believer of this, is that there's even small victories found in defeat, and Childs definitely has proven like we can keep up with the teams that have really stood out in the city for some time now, and they have, in both victory and in defeat. And this was one of those games. And of course, the chances of being a playoff team are still there, if I'm not mistaken, Jupe. I mean, if they win out, another district win, it's a what are we looking at, 50-50?
Probably a little stronger than that. I don't want to spill the beans for that next segment.
Yeah.
Ask Jupe.
Yeah. Next slide, ladies and gentlemen.
But that will do it for week number 1. I mean, not week number 1, but week number 8. And, for a lot of what we've seen across the area, I'm going to jump to the other scores here in just a moment. There's just been, a lot of what we've seen is that right now it's just, man, the rural is just so entertaining to watch. That's just one of the funnest divisions we have now around the area. It's just you're not what you're going to get week in and week out with a lot of the larger schools. We've kind of seen more of the separation, but there have been all sorts of surprises at the rural classification right now. It's just been arguably one of the better classifications to just watch right now. Let me go ahead and pull up the scores for the rest of week number 8, and a lot of what we saw was just a little bit more of the same in terms of a lot of teams. But man, we go back to the Thursday night. We saw the Mosley Niceville that shootout in overtime, and then Bozeman handles business against Destin 22-15. Bucks going up against Rutherford, and this is for the district championship. And don't look now, but Rutherford had a great win last week as well. McClay, we were on hand for that when they handled business against Chambers Academy, 38-28. Marauders just still, man, they went right back to bully ball in that one.
Yeah, that was a fun one. I know people were wondering, they're like, who the heck is Chambers Academy? They thought it was some scrub team that they picked up. They were 2-time reigning state champs out of the independent leagues out of Alabama. They were physical. They had a big offensive line, and McClay gave them a battle, and that was a heavyweight fight. McClay gave it to him, though. I was impressed. McClay looked good, got the run game going, and then, of course, Henry Richardson's got it going on in that passing game with Bo Bashir as he's starting to get it rolling here that junior season.
Oh, yeah. Leon, a big winner over Mariana, 30-6. Lions pick up a big win with some momentum. They have let me check and make sure who Leon has this week. Childs is off. They're at Bradford.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough out for the Lions, but still a tough road contest. And then they back at home against Childs and closing out the season against Taylor County. So they got 3 big ones remaining on their schedule. For the Lions, though, they'll gladly take the 35-6 victory over Mariana. NFC, a big winner over FAMU DRS, 49-12. Baby Rattlers still looking for that first win on the season. And NFC,
No, Mark. They won last week.
They
beat Joshua Academy Christian.
Did we get that score in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Man, I remember that because it's one of my schools. They played last Saturday. So hey.
And they won.
Yeah, they played and they won.
I mean, not last Saturday. I don't think we had that by the time we went on the show.
Yes, it was. We did. You just forgot.
And that's confirmed, Coach? Because, I mean, that score changed 3 or 4 times.
It doesn't matter.
I think that's what it was. We didn't have an official score.
They won.
Okay, they won.
Okay.
If Coach says so,
trust me,
I'm with.
I'm on a chat with a bunch of people from over there. So
the insider.
Yeah.
Now, this is not from the insider lives in my house.
Coaches get a network of insiders.
Well, my wife she taught over there for several years, so she keeps up with the school. So
you got a network of insiders, Coach.
Hey, when you live as long as I have, you pick up a lot of those along the way.
Choctaw, big winner over Rickards, 31-0.
Ouch.
Big Green blanks the Raiders. Rickards trying to not go into kind of that wounded animal mode, but they are still looking for victory number 3. They're off this week. They'll get a chance to close out the season, taking on Arnold and Lincoln at home. But Raiders, we did not predict this, but yeah, we've got Rickards now sitting at 2 and what looks to be 2-6, and still with a shot at making the playoffs. So
hey, with the system,
it's crazy.
The point system is possible.
Anything is possible. I had a chance to talk about the Jags win over Florida High. Reigns, a big winner over Madison County, 27-14. And Madison, man, Cowboys, I just feel for them. They got the toughest schedule, obviously. They are sitting at 2-5 on the season right now, and they've got a big one coming up against Florida High at home. They close out at Apopka and at Lecanto. And man, it doesn't get any easier. But Reigns all over Madison, 27-14. Bluntstown hangs a 70-piece on Dixie County, 74-0. And the juggernaut that is Bluntstown keeps rolling right along. The Tigers are undefeated and have not given up more than 20 points in any given game. So
wow,
they finish out the season at Northview and at Holmes County. This could be one of those where I don't see anybody getting in the Tigers' way going on their march to the playoffs. Baker County best Swanee 28-21 in overtime, and man, a tough loss for the Dogs. It really was in hand at one point or another, but they have games against Taylor County and Childs close out the regular season. Columbia blanks Ridgeview 44-0. And the Tigers in great position coming down the stretch. And a lot of what I've seen just with them, I don't think they've given up more than 20 points in any given game either. So they're in great position. They finish at Clay. I think that's their last district game after the bye. So that'll be in a couple of weeks. And then they close out the regular season at Bowles. Franklin hooks up with Weaver, and the Seahawks are a big winner, 51-20. And for Franklin, I feel like that was what the doctor ordered for them. They had a great kind of a bounce back after a tough outing a week ago. But for the Seahawks and Coach Cooper, that was a big win. And let me get the rest of my scores on deck.
Yeah, Franklin County, I think, improving to 6-2 of the season.
Is it?
So yeah, we got Pensacola Catholic, a big winner over Walton, 24-7. Fort Walton Beach edges Arnold in a surprise for me, 14-12. Osceola Christian blanks Graceville 49-0. South Walton all over Freeport, and another surprise. I thought this would be a little bit closer, but man, Seahawks handled the defense showed up this time, 50-9 over Freeport. Sneed's a big winner over Jefferson, 39-6. Rutherford, big district matchup coming up this week, but they took care of North Bay Haven, 49-14. And then Holmes County, a 60-piece on Vernon, 68-20. And that'll do it for week number 8. And just to kind of look at it real quick, the points. We were just trying to throw out some scenarios, but when you look at, and I think I'm on.
Ask Jew.
Yeah, I think I'm up to 6A now. But yeah, sitting at the top for when you look at 5A, there's for me, I still have questions, but Lincoln in a great spot. I think it's kind of tough to speculate what the first round might look like, but it really it looks as if I think in Region 1 I think they're in there with let me see. Yeah, they're in with Mosley in Region 1. Ooh. So that's a potential matchup coming down the road. They're also in the same region with Point of Adria. And so Point of Adria, I think, is top 7 team right now in Class 5A. So there's a bit kind of spread around in 5A. There's a lot of talent. Of course, Lakeland sitting at the top, followed by Atlantic, Gaither, Edgewater, and Tampa Bay Tech.
I'm not surprised with those.
Yeah, there's quite a few scenarios in there. Of course, Niceville is also sitting in, and then you got to scroll down a little bit, but then you see the Childs Timberwolves in Region 1. There's still some work left for the Timberwolves to do. It looks like in 5A in terms of playoffs.
As Jew.
Yeah, they're one of those bubble teams, and that's the thing. Niceville's on the bubble too. So you look at anybody kind of that Middleburg, Niceville, Matanzas, Fleming, Childs pocket. It's very close, and you could definitely see that 7 to 10, 11 move a lot the next couple weeks. And so obviously wins this time of year are huge, seem even larger as we kind of come down the stretch. But yeah, Childs in the conversation. Lincoln's going to have a tough go because they're going to be kind of locked into that beachside mainland, Milton area, right? Like that 3 to 6 category. So they're maybe getting a home game, but they're going to have to play the 5 seed. So once again, they're probably going to have to get a tough mainland, just like last year, or we could see a really good Milton squad come over.
Yeah, Milton had a great season.
Mm-hmm.
Milton did fall to Mosley, just in terms of common opponents. Dropping down to 4A, 4A Region 1 goes St. Augustine and Choctaw and literally everybody else. It's St. Augustine, Choctaw, Columbia, then Ed White, Pine Forest, Escambia, Booker T. Washington, then Rickards right there at number 8. There they are. Man, this playoff hopes are on the line against Arnold. So that's going to be a huge matchup for Rickards going up against Arnold. That's really a must-win right there for the Raiders. In a winnable game, but after that it goes Riverside, Fort Walton Beach. But man, the top 3, when you look at Columbia, that's really where you really hoping. They are a solid 5 points behind Choctaw, who is undefeated. And that might not be enough to move the needle, barring a Choctaw loss anywhere. But man, the Big Green Indian look like they might go undefeated this year. There's a very favorable schedule, but man, St. Augustine looks absolutely scary though in Region 1.
Yeah, and I don't have the metrics to support this, but it feels like this is one of the biggest divided regions, the top 3, and then it's kind of everybody else. So I know we saw the score line. Choctaw's that good. That's not on Rickards, from that scoreline last week. Choctaw is
they are
that
for real
good. They've been doing that to everybody and worse all year long.
Oh man, no mercy. Oof.
But yeah, Jared, we're gonna get to your comment in just a minute about what I think that's 2A, what they're looking like out there. We'll talk about Region 1 in just a minute. In 3A in just a second. But 3A Region 1 is interesting at that because at the top is Rains, then we go Yulee, then Bay, Bishop Kenny, Wakulla, Baker County, West Florida, Mendez, and then Godby right there, I believe. And Godby's in what, number 9?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in the 9th spot. And that really, I mean, man, the loss to Wakulla was just crucial because that really just caused a whole domino effect. After that, you go Swanee, Ribault. When you look at it, and, Jerry, hopefully you're still tuned in. Yeah, that game against Bay, they had a great, it really just kind of a great kind of run there against the Tornadoes, who were really, in my opinion, I think the environment being on the road like that, West Florida really looked really good. Looking at the playoffs, though, when you look at how things potentially, work out, I mean, the top half of that looks really dangerous. Yulee is a surprise, but Rains and Bay, there is a scenario where you guys can link up again. There's a scenario where Bay could be playing West Florida again in the playoffs. So I don't know that we've seen. There might be a part 2 of that one, which would be really entertaining. So
rematch.
And that's a weird space because that Wakulla, Baker County will have a lot in where West Florida looks up. But to Jerry's point, I'm interested to see them the next 2 weeks. West Florida's played really good at home. I definitely support that 3.5 quarters. They looked unstoppable. Hey, I want to see how you do at Milton, and then, of course, a team against Pensacola, which they should beat at Pensacola. But I think they could be looking good for the playoffs. They feel like a 7-8 team kind of finishing off that region.
Yeah, I was going to mention I'm going to keep my eye on the Milton game because that's going to be a crucial one because it determines so much of what happens in Region 1, especially for the local area teams in the Big Bend and Panhandle and Panama City areas. But jumping down to 2A, and this is just where things get Bowl sitting up at 6-1 has a 17-point lead over number 2 Pensacola Catholic just by virtue of whom they played, which has been, I mean, Bowles has done fairly well against really the upper echelon of the competition on their schedule. But after that, you've got South Walden in number 3. So Seahawks with the 50-point win last week, that really did them a favor, bumping them up a little bit because right after that is Florida High, which could – this is where I just start to ask questions, because I look at Florida High's schedule and I look at some other teams' schedule and I go, the record, you just got to wonder how much the opponents that you play, how much are they worth really, because this is one where Florida High, I think, they arguably have seen a lot better than what you're seeing now. We do have to exclude Gaston County because they are not eligible. But once you get down to there's Andrew Jackson sitting in that number 8 spot, and directly behind them, just go with me on this one, is the Rutherford Rams. So there is a universe where if they can secure the district, they've got a great matchup coming up against Bozeman here. You can see the Rams in the playoffs. So there is a scenario where Rams are playing postseason ball, and that would give you, if I'm not mistaken, that would give you a potential to have 4 schools from Bay County in the playoffs, which we haven't seen that in, I don't know if we've seen that ever.
Wow, 4 schools.
It probably has been in the past, but because they used to have some great teams over there. But I think this is exactly what FHSA wanted, for everybody to have a reason to play the rest of the season. Usually teams win the district, second place team kind of already fitting, and people kind of relax at the end. Now you got to play every game because you still got a chance to make the playoffs if that's your goal. And I think the FHSA is happy that teams are still in the hunt. There's a whole lot of teams still in the hunt for the playoffs, which is exciting to the school, the fan base, and people who watch high school football. Because, I mean, if you go to Rutherford, just for example, you went to Rutherford, you're excited about them making the playoffs. You don't care about the record. They're in the playoffs. Because once you get in the playoffs, it's all everybody's 0-0. All you got to do is win. So I think this is exactly what they wanted, and they're getting teams. Everybody's playing tough at the end. Everybody know they got a chance. I got a chance to make the playoffs. I can go to practice Monday. After the game, and say, look, all we got to do is win these next 2 games, and we in the playoffs. And the kids, you're not lying. You're telling the truth. You got a chance, which is exciting to me as a coach.
Yeah, my junior year, we lived off of if we beat Bay and we beat Choctaw, we get into the playoffs, and that is internally etched into my memory. It lives rent free because it's true. Once it doesn't matter how bad your season is. If you win a certain number of games and you get those points, you're in.
Yeah.
For example, we can go down to 1A, where McClay is the top team, followed by University of Christian, Trinity Christian, Episcopal, also of Jacksonville, Trinity Catholic. Then you've got NFC sitting in that critical 6th spot. They've got a good matchup against McClay this week. That's the Meridian Battle for Meridian Road coming up, followed by Impact, Providence School at the number 8 spot. Guess who's sitting at number 10?
Who?
Your FAMU DRS Baby Rattlers are sitting at number 10. Now, mathematically, I don't know how that would work because behind them is Kip Academy and then the lowly PK Young sitting at 0-7. So I don't see
Wait a minute. PK Young is 0-7. You said 0-7.
I'm only reading what I see on the site.
I'm just saying. You said 0-7, right?
That's what the site
says. FAMU
says.
has won 1 game and they're behind this team.
They're sitting at number 10.
Makes sense.
There's only 13 teams in Region 1.
Oh, man.
Hey.
And
makes sense.
And what's interesting now, what the FHSAA has also done, and this is specifically for teams, of course, 2A, 1A, and rural. I would also like to say, for those who just come up short, who are on the bubble outside looking in, Jupe, we'll probably talk about this in the near future. I talked about it in the offseason.
Now
there is.
We go down to the.
Yeah.
We drop down to the 1A, to the rural division, and Miss Jones, I'm gonna be realistic with you. I plead your case, and I would love to see the Tigers get into the playoffs. This may not be the year mathematically. They're sitting at 2-5. You've got and understand rural football is like the SEC right now. Of all the classification, this is just you don't know what you're going to get. A lot of what I've seen is just Jefferson may be more of a outside look for the the Invitational.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think that's the possibility for a lot of those teams. Could they get into the Florida Invitational?
Now, see, Dixie County had not that great of a record last year. Going into the Invitational, and then they ran the table literally. So it is possible. There anything can happen. That's why we play the game. But I look forward to what Coach Bright is going to be doing over the next season or two. I think the program is definitely on the uptick. And then this one is a more interesting question. Now, as far as Jefferson, that probably is not going to happen this year. But Madison is a totally different story. Right now, I think Madison is sitting at number in the rural. They are sitting at
what is it, 4 or 5?
Number 11.
13.
13.
Yeah. And people complaining about it.
Now, what is holding Madison together? And this looks like they'll probably be on the road, uh, if they can manage to kind of position it in there. But um, you got to keep in mind, there's also, I mean, you just can't count out that we just saw a very dominant Chiefland team. We see the Bluntstown juggernaut. Taylor County sitting at number 3. After them, you got Hawthorne, Pahokee. That's your top 5. 6 spots: Williston, Lafayette, Chipley, Trenton, Baker, Fort Meade, Branford. Then the Cowboys. Right after Cowboys, and really nipping at their heels is Liberty County. They're literally
Mark. Nobody in this rural wants to see Madison in the first round. Nobody. You can ask the coach if he's telling the truth. You don't want to see Madison because you talk about it. Nothing. I'm telling you, do not want to play.
Hey, no. This is where I'm gonna step in because one of those teams that Mark just mentioned is also from my neck of the woods. They're not as bad. Fort Meade. Fort Meade's got some history, man. Do not count out the minors, man.
The history is what is it? How many times they were state champs? They done won like 2 or 3 in a row. Yeah, you do not want to face that team in the first round of the playoffs. No, I don't want to face them.
I would have Madison as a road favorite in the first round.
I'm going to answer the question and say that yes, Madison will be in the playoffs, but majority of their games are going to be on the road. I don't see
now here's the thing: they would play the top half of that bracket. So you're seeing a potential matchup between like a Chiefland Madison County matchup. That would be huge.
Same could be said for Taylor County possibly in that old school rivalry between the two.
So there's some interesting matchups baked into that one. But that is your potential playoff outlook. We'll have a clearer picture next week on the Extra Point. We're gonna try and burn through some of these preview games before it gets to be.
Make sure you ask
Cofield's bedtime.
You're right. You're not.
Madison. To your point, not to hold up the show, but Madison's got a shot at the home games. Yeah, they're 6-7 spots back, but from the numbers perspective, they could get up into like a 7 seed. Yeah. So I could see them clipping into the first round. They got to beat a Apopka. They can't lose to a Apopka, and I think if the Madison gets 2 of their 3, I think they could creep up to the 8 seed and get 1 home game. But I wouldn't bank on seeing multiple home games in Madison. To answer the question directly.
Wow.
Yeah, it's just to me, I think the most interesting thing about it is just how much their schedule is really just kind of like the glue for them right now. And it's just really, hey, Coach Cofield, to your point, you can't get those games on the schedule anymore. So this would have been a much different team, or at least a record, if they were able to have some of those rural games. But scheduling becomes a problem when you're the big dog on top.
When they used to have districts, you were forced to play each other. Now with the region games, there's no districts, and so they don't have to play you until they meet you in the playoffs, which is it seemed like a good idea at first, but I think Madison would prefer to be in a district where they at least have 3 mandatory games or so if they got a 14 district, and they would have to play those 3 games. It is difficult when you're successful as they are to put a schedule together on your level. Nobody at your level want to play. I guarantee they called up a bunch of these teams and they like, man, coach, I'm full. I got every game full. I literally, the first time I was doing scheduling, we wasn't that good. We really wasn't that good, but our reputation was good. Our coach hung up the phone on me. He said, what school? FAMU? Click. And I'm like, dang, coach, we ain't win with 2 games. We ain't win with 2 games. What you talking about?
That is quite the story.
Yeah, man, I got all kinds of stories. It's amazing. Scheduling is tough. Especially, I know Madison got a tough time.
All right, week number 9 on deck in your face. Starting off, Lincoln taking on Trinity Christian. The Trojans heading down I-10, going into Duval to take on the Conquerors. And Jonathan, we're gonna go ahead and jump into it. This one, I think definitely the Trojans have a chance to take this one. Lincoln really showed a lot of grit over their past couple of games, really riding the ship after the pair of losses at Ware County and at really just at Nice, respectively. Those are some tough outings in between just kind of a 3-week stretch because they had the bye week in between. But since then, they've ripped off 3 straight. The 70-piece against Leon really, galvanized the offense again. The tough win against Gaston County. And then, of course, the come from not well, I can't say come from behind win, but them being able to pull away from Childs in the second half of that last game. Trinity Christian, yeah, definitely. This is not the same Conquerors team. This is not the same Conquerors team that we've seen in the past, but yeah, I think the Trojans got a definite. They have a definite. And I just honestly, just the way the passing game has been working for Lincoln as of late, I think they have a definite shot at being able to come back home on I-10 with the dub. Of course, you can't tell anybody on Lincoln staff that they already know what they're going into. They have every plan to keep the dubs in the win column on this one. So, yeah, I like Lincoln's chances in this game.
Yeah, this is not an easy matchup for anybody. Trinity Christian has been in several different classifications because the access. I don't know if people know they go from K all the way through college at that school. So kids can come from anywhere and go to school. They got dorms on their campus. They got players. They produced some of the best players in the country came out of the high school. So they compete. They can compete at a higher level than most schools in the. I'm not sure what classification they're in. They're in 2A, 3A. I'm not sure, but they can compete at the highest level against anybody. And Coach Domini has been there for decades, and that program is always winning. And it is not easy, no matter where you're from, to go in there and take a victory. It's right off it's not far off I-10. So they expect and they'll be happy to greet Lincoln at the door when they turn off that road to go down in there and play a game. I went down there a couple of 3 times, came away with a whooping. So the only time we ever came close, it was the second year, and I don't know, maybe they were having a bad day or something. We came close to in the game, but most of the games we played, they were probably had about 8 or 9, well, maybe 10 D1s playing football over there. I don't know what the caliber players they got now, but they always have a great group of guys going all over the country. Lincoln better bring their A game, though. You can't take this game for granted.
Yeah, don't sleep on Trinity Christian, of course. They got one of the toughest schedules. Won't give Jonathan a Duval since we're talking about the county here, but I will give my fellow Jags fan a little go Jags. So shout out to Jonathan, my guy. But yeah, I think Lincoln's got a good chance. I want to see the run game. Can they continue to go with Huggins, to keep that going? I don't think, from my perspective, when I'm kind of looking at the landscape, looking at film, the last 10, 15 years, I think about Trinity. I think about dominant run game and just big, bad backs. So I don't think that they're necessarily to what I associate with that, like 3-peat, 4-peat era that I'm kind of thinking within the last kind of 10 years or so. But they are going to be a tough out, and this will be a good game. So I don't think that it's like a Hail Mary shot, but, I would probably give Trinity the advantage, especially being at home.
Anything is possible for sure, in the words of Coach Cohen. Duval, very tough place as of lately for a lot of Tallahassee teams to play. Mark, has Lincoln won as of recently in the Jacksonville area?
Ooh, yes,
you.
Yes. They had a victory over Fletcher.
That was last season, or was that this season?
And Fleming last year. I lumped Mainland in there. I don't know if you guys do. Beat Mainland too.
Okay.
Mainland.
Yeah.
Daytona, Jacksonville-ish.
You can't tell them that, but yeah.
They don't.
Yeah,
they don't
but
roll,
I mean,
they don't roll like that.
Some
yeah,
people,
but Fleming.
but some people consider Clay County part of Jacksonville area too.
Yeah.
Just saying.
That's because it is. Technically,
We're living in the real world. They also beat
right.
Matanzas. Is Matanzas count?
But yeah,
I'll put 'em all
Trojans
in
looking
there.
to improve to 6-2 on the year. Lincoln's schedule, we had a chance to talk. They finish out after Trinity. They've got Gabi and Rickers on deck. So 2 classic matchups, crosstown rivals. Yeah, there's that one's going to be a good one. Let's keep it rolling. We've got Arcilla linking up with Franklin County and Warriors, and I'm just double checking. The Warriors are sitting at 5-1. Just wanted to make sure I had that right. And this is upstart Franklin County team still got everything in front of them. To me, I think both of these teams match up pretty decently. But man, Landon LaRosa and the Arcilla offense, man, they look pretty good. Quarterback gets it done with his arm and his legs, dual threat kind of guy. Always something about going out there to Arcilla. One of my favorite places to catch a game. If you haven't been out there, you got to go at least once or twice in your life. But yeah, this is going to be an interesting matchup. I definitely like the way the two teams match up. This is really more so kind of a must-win for Franklin as far as their placement overall. Just trying to be able to get points as Arcilla Christian is what's the league they're playing in this year?
I think I can answer that because I was like looking both of these schools up. I was looking both of these schools up on FHSA and I couldn't find them, but on the SSAA I did. And I want to say Franklin County right now is like top 10 or top 15 in the SSAA Atlantic Division. The same thing with Arcilla Christian, part of that North region of what it's looking like. So this game, I think, seeds their chances to get up higher. But because I think Arcilla is 5-1, they're above Franklin County right now. And if Franklin County was to win, they'll go up.
That's a double S, double A, Sunshine State Athletic Association.
Mark, this is history. If Franklin wins, they'll make history. The most they've ever won in a season is 6 games. They'll win. Yeah. It'll be seven wins, and that'll make history. Also, 4 quarters online, first game we ever covered was at Arcilla, May 16th, 2009.
Awesome.
Just to let you know, first game.
We've been around for a minute.
I mean, yes, we have. Y'all have. I mean, I remember you guys.
We've been around so long. We remember when Coach Cooper was actually playing for Wakulla.
I coached. We played against when I was at FAM.
Him and Coach Bradwell.
Yeah, you know, a lot of them come and tell you, say, Coach, we remember when we were in high school, we did so and so and so. Dang, we've been around a minute. But I remember that day because I was like kind of nervous. It's our first time. Nobody knew who 4 quarters online was. And like, who are you? What are y'all? Covering the game. I forgot who Arcilla was playing. And
everything was different back then. You didn't see not one iPhone in sight.
we had it covered.
Yeah.
What was that thing, Mark? What was that thing you had? That the Democrats started using the same thing. It was a little.
Oh, they don't make them anymore. There was ancient technology.
Mark could video the games with this little. It looked like one of the phones now, and everybody was watching what Mark was doing. Next thing I know, the Democrat, they had a bunch of them. I'm like, dang.
You're probably referring to one of them small camcorders back in the day in like the
what was I don't know. Mark had bought this.
They were called flip cameras, and they were just USB. Man, they were arguably the best piece of technology I think I ever invested in. That thing was shooting 1080p HD, which is the highest you could go, and it was like something you could put in your pocket.
And then everybody started using it.
We try to be trendsetters. We don't like to follow the crowd too often.
Yeah,
that's a period piece, Mark.
Between Arcilla and Franklin.
Yeah,
Franklin still got everything in front of them, but this is going to be a great one. Moving on, we've got Madison in a must. I would say, man, it's a must win. We're just gonna call it that.
Where's this game being played?
On Florida High at Blue
Oh,
Hill. Cowboys sitting at 2-5, and the Seminoles sitting at 4-3. Seminoles stumbled in the loss to Gas, and really it only hurt them. They're still champion, but you know the points matter in this particular scenario, and it'll be a tough game for both teams.
Yeah, I think this is a tough matchup for Florida High, coming off a loss to a tough Gaston County team. They're gonna face another team that's gonna battle with them, and they're on the road once again, because I think Florida High only had 3 home games this year, and they're on the road again playing a tough Madison team that wants to improve their playoff standing with the point system. So they're gonna be a tough matchup for Florida High. I don't know. You got to think about the matchup. Who you think can come out on top? Because I don't know. We don't know where Florida High's head is. Because losing a 1-point game can kind of stick with you. You'll bring it into the next week if you're not careful.
Yeah. To me, it's Florida High's defense. Can they pull things back together? Because Gaston County that was just a team playing with a different purpose, as it were. And Madison, they might be in wounded animal mode. I'm not really sure. It's just more so. To me, it just feels like the Cowboys have been pushed into a corner and they are itching for a big home victory. Their schedule doesn't get any better, but they definitely want to be able to go out. This will be senior night at Madison, last home game, and I know this is a team that again going to be playing with a lot of purpose. But Florida High, man, their schedule is no better. Seminoles have played. If Madison has played a who's who, I would say Florida High is right there at a close second. And really, Florida High finishes at Madison, at Bishop Moore, at Mosley. So take your pick, flip a coin. But definitely, I hope these teams can stay healthy because that's really what you really want to look at. But man, it's going to be a tough matchup with Madison, the host of this one, sitting at 2-5, hosting Florida High at 4-3.
Yeah, must win for both teams. Schedule's brutal. Bishop Moore's undefeated. Mosley's got 1 loss for Florida High. Both of them are kind of on the fringe-ish. You feel confident about them, but both of them have the potential of getting, well, I should say Madison's got the potential of getting bounced out of that top 16. Florida High's got the auto bid, but they're trying to stay in that home team conversation. But I thought they got a good picture of what they saw versus Gadsden and how that second half offense ran. I think that's going to be similar to what you'll see Crumity and Gallon, kind of that running force against Florida High. So from that kind of gamesmanship standpoint, I feel like not a perfect 1-for-1, but I think that approach will help prepare them for Madison.
Yep, should be a very interesting one. And this, if I'm not mistaken, there's history between these two. If you go way back to the days when Class 1B and 2B used to exist, I think at one point in time they were in the same districts together. So it should be a fun matchup to see. Yeah, despite the injuries, yes, of course, with both teams. But we will see who wants it more as Florida High goes into a very tough place to play.
Yeah, I remember Ronnie Harrison having one of the most amazing games I think I've ever seen against in the Florida High Madison County at Blue Hill matchup. So now can they get him to like suit up again? I doubt it, but the magic may still be there. But this is just, both teams very physical up front. Man, Florida High, you just got to wonder, and both for Madison, you just got to wonder, like, something's got to give. And this is the matchup where I think we're going to see what each team is made of. And this one's going to be a good one. Moving on, we've got another interesting matchup, South Walton taking on Wakulla. And both teams sitting at 5-2 with a lot to play for going into the last 3 weeks of the regular season. And South Walton right now has very quietly, they had a tough loss at Florida High earlier in the season. But since then, the Seahawks, I think they really turned some heads last week with the 50 piece on Freeport. And, I expected that one. Freeport, not no slouch of a team. And for them to be able to kind of dominate them at home, really, just kind of put them back in that contention. They've got a great offensive air attack. Uh, I think that was was that Gilliard? Am I saying that right? Quarterback at South Walton, really having a great season so far. And for Wakulla, it's really, kind of evenly matched across the board. Their quarterback situation still looking pretty good under Owen Cleese. I expect to see a high scoring affair in this one. I wouldn't be surprised if we got another 50, 52, 55 points going off. But South Walton defensively really showed a lot against Freeport last week.
Man, you really, the defensive coordinators don't like what you just said. I think it's a 20 point game. I don't think they're going to put up the 50 piece in this game. I think it's going to be a battle to the end. I think that you got two great quarterbacks playing against each other. And the one team that makes the least mistakes probably going to win this football game.
Yeah, and that's J.D. Brown, I think the guy you were thinking about for South Walton, Mark, the quarterback. But they don't sleep on South Walton. Only losses are to Florida High and Choctaw. Look good outside of that. And I feel like they're pretty insulated to potentially get a home game for the playoffs. I feel pretty good about them being in that 3 or 4 spot. So get another shot at the Eagles' nest if they hold on. A tough contest against Pensacola Catholic after this week, and then Mariana to finish. So you start looking at it.
Yeah.
But both these teams.
Yeah, I like this matchup. And, with Owen Cleese and his offense and what they got going. And like you said earlier in the show, Jupe, their defense is solid. So I think it's going to be a good one. And this game, Mark, is it at J.D. Jones?
No, this was out on the beach in Emerald Coast.
Okay, so now now that changes a few things. Can Wakulla get the job done on the road in a very tough environment? Because this is what a preview of playoff football is going to look like for them. So Coach Cleese, he knows how to prepare his team. So we'll see.
Yeah, Grant Gilmore. My bad. I totally ruined it. I totally botched that one. But Grant Gilmore, leading receiver for the Seahawks, averaging 81 a game. 4 touchdowns on the season, but a great target. It has been pretty consistent, and really for Wakulla, it's just how do you respond in a road environment like that? I think they've had pretty good success this past season. Just looking at how they were able to get the big win on the road at Swanee, and another big win at Fort Walton Beach. So this will be another, road contest with some tough implications. But this one, these two teams not in the same classification, but still a great matchup that goes a long way in the points in terms of records. Wakulla finishes versus Baker County, and that was that weird district game we were talking about that could kind of throw a monkey wrench. But they do get the Wildcats at home, and then they finish at Gadsden County. So again, War Eagles in great position. This looking for their 5th straight victory, and this one's going to be a good one. But definitely down on the beach. South Walton is your host. Both teams sitting at 5-2. South Walton versus Wakulla. As we get closer to the playoffs, it's just kind of interesting to note how some of the districts have been wrapped up, and there's still some that are completely up in the air. This one going to be one of those games where Rutherford can change everything. Despite all of the toil and the stress going through the first part of the season, 4 straight losses, they were able to get the huge victory over Mariana. Then took a step backwards. Port St. Joe comes in, absolutely rains on the Rutherford parade with a 54-20 loss, and then they come back and absolutely just hammer North Bay Haven 49-14. And this one is the one that could just completely change the whole trajectory of the season. A win against Bozeman at home would put the Rams squarely into the playoff as the champion. So of the district. So this one has a this one has a lot on the line for Rutherford. And if you ever want to get your kids galvanized, it's just like, hey guys, we get this team at home, we win, everything goes away. All the misery, we can call ourselves district champions. We're definitely getting in, we're definitely in the playoffs. It doesn't get any bigger than this.
This should be a great matchup. Look like Rutherford to start turning things up. That record don't seem right. It seems like they.
I was gonna say, are they 2-5 or 5-2?
Yeah, excuse me. That's Rutherford is 2-5.
Yeah, I was looking at it. I was like, hey man, goodness, coach would be happy with that. But they struggled at the beginning of the season and seem like they're coming around now. And like you said, a victory this week could change the whole trajectory of the program. And the season would be. I mean, they can win like 3-4 games and be the happiest team in the state of Florida and be in the playoffs. Good turnaround if they do win it.
Yeah, just win your district, like you said. Winning in for this district, you only need 3. You could potentially get by with 2. So interested to see. But Bozeman, from what we've seen, Bozeman can run with basically any team that they play with, it seems. And it's going to be a little harder to score versus Bozeman than it was against North Bayhaven. And so probably maybe not 49 up on the board this year, but hey, this is what you want for a district contest when we're playing October ball.
Yeah, this one. When you and I just was taking a look at how Rutherford, really they've been close in a couple of games. Earlier in the season, I just think they had the Holmes County 21-19 loss. This is it kind of reminds me of where again, hey, you got to tell you guys to lock in, but this one again with Coach Floyd, with everything that this team has been through, one victory changes the whole trajectory. So this will be one that we'll definitely have our eyes on, and again, this could add to the whole, because the whole scenario of the 4 Bay County teams getting into the playoffs, because Bozeman has the points right now. I think they're sitting solidly at number 5 in the region. So it's really Rutherford that could eke in with a victory. And so we'll definitely have our eyes on this game. It's going to be a great Week 9 matchup that has playoff implications. But yeah, this one's going to be a good one between the Bucks and Rams. Another Bay County rivalry. As we move on to another great matchup, and this one, Battle for Meridian Road, NFC, McClay. Just kind of had to look at this one from a different vantage point, because for McClay, this is one where they've really turned the tide in the series. NFC dominated in the beginning, and now McClay has come on of late. I think this could potentially be, if they were able to take this one, this could be 4 of the last 5 in the series. But the Eagles still sitting squarely at 3-3, still very much in the playoff hunt. For McClay, they are the number 1 team in the region, sitting at 6-1. They absolutely had a great showing against Chambers Academy last week. But this one going to be at the Eagles' Nest. Definitely going to be a good matchup. But NFC really trying to break out of the one-dimensionality of the offense, trying to spread the ball around, get some more guys involved. But McClay has been playing bully ball of late, very physical, especially in the interior.
Yeah, this is a fun matchup. These 2 teams, they don't like each other. They're right up the road from each other. And, like you said, NFC used to dominate this. This didn't used to be a game. And now the tables have turned, and McClay is a more powerful and dominant team. And I know NFC would love to knock them off, but it's going to be a tough thing for them to do that. Too bad it's not at McClay, because we can see this. We can see it in person.
Definitely. We'll have all the scores and updates. So this one you don't have to travel far to get information about it. It's just
I like to see it because I like Coach. McCorvey, I love to sit up there and watch them go through the things what you go through with doing a game. It's tough. You want to beat your rival, especially right up the road. Oh,
Well,
man,
McCorvey has experience coaching at both programs.
yeah, that's right. He was the first. Wasn't he the first coach at McClay?
I believe so.
I think he was the first coach at McClay High School. So hey, it don't matter. You change schools, huh?
Taking on your former school.
I'm excited for this matchup. I will be tuned in and keeping up with it, man. It's always fun watching this rivalry between the two. And I think I like McClay's chances even on the road, but I think that's what's going to help NFC is, you're playing home, you're in the Eagles' nest. Hopefully you get the good help of the 12th man with that home crowd. So we'll see. I mean, because of course, NFC, keep in mind that stadium, everything is right there. Like, especially fans who are not in the stands, they got a chair already popped up around that track and everything. So yeah, it'll be interesting and very fun.
Yeah, winner take all. Winner take all makes the playoffs, wins the district. All the chips are on the table, kind of like we said for that Bozeman-Rutherford situation. Very similar. But of course, yeah.
And the title of the Meridian Road Champions.
Trophies and banners, right, Coach?
Yeah, I gotta find out. I thought we asked a while back if there was a trophy. If there isn't, there should be.
If I was any one of these, because I make one up.
You know what? I'm leaning more towards title belts now, like what South Alabama and Troy does.
Oh, okay.
We have to find something that ends up being like, kind of like the little brown jug between Minnesota and Michigan, or the what is it, the Floyd's, the little pig that they exchange, something where you can put teams' names on in a number of years. That might be interesting. McClay has the remaining schedule goes at Deerfield, Windsor, at Walton, and I think they have they've already had their bye, but NFC goes a little bit differently. After taking on McClay, they go Franklin County and then Freeport. So a few interesting tidbits there mixed into the recipe for NFC, which would need to kind of really have a strong showing in all of those games to kind of keep their spot secure. But this one's going to be a good one. Battle for Meridian Road. Moving on, this one also piqued my interest, but I just felt like, hey, why not throw another Bay County team into the mix? North Bay Haven, really on the verge of being 500 on the year, and they're taking on Cottondale. And this is one where when you go back and you look at, I think if you go back and you look at the points, North Bay Haven wasn't that they weren't that far out, if I'm not mistaken. I think they still have some work.
I'm trying to bring it up now, Mark. They're 2A, right?
Yeah, I'm looking too. Let me see.
I've got them 12. So they're
12.
But they're still within shouting distance. They could sneak into the 8th spot, but I mean Jackson. But you got to watch Rutherford. If Rutherford wins the district, they get the bid steal. They jump. So I think Rutherford
points wise, I think it's a stretch.
It's gettable though.
Still,
so this is potentially one of those crucial games.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Cottondale, this is the other side of that coin, where for the Hornets, it's one of those where they're just in the thick of the rule right now, and I'm trying to see where they're actually located.
They're a great bubble team right now. They're 18 out of 16. But I mean, Sneeds, Fort White, Liberty, Holmes, Hamilton, all in that like 14 to 20 pocket is going to be pretty wild.
With them sitting at 4 and 3, I think they're like 200ths of a point behind Sneeds, which is interesting because Sneeds 4 and 3, Fort White, we talked about Liberty. Yeah, they're all sitting right there. So that's going to be interesting. But this one, really a must win for both teams. North Bay Haven, if they want to have a shot, they'll definitely need the points in this one. But Cottondale, man, they really came up close in a couple of ball games. I know they wish they could have had back. And for them, I think this one probably matters a little bit more because they definitely want to be able to secure a spot in the playoffs, and they'll need a strong showing against an upper class team to kind of demonstrate that. But as far as I know, it's just there's still a lot of interesting matchups and a lot of football left to be played. I'm gonna read off some of the other matchups we have going on around the area as we round out week number 9. Freeport will be visiting Baker. The Bulldogs really looking for another crucial win, as their schedule looks pretty favorable, but a pair of losses in between the bye weeks to Pensacola Catholic and South Walton really kind of put a damper on things. But they go Baker, at Walton, and then at NFC to close out the year. Other matchups from around the area, of course, that Bozeman Rutherford game going to be going on Thursday night. Don't want to lose track of that. Swanee at Taylor, that's going to be a big one. Bulldogs trying to salvage the season, and Taylor kind of trying to get back into the winning side of things after a tough loss at Chiefland. Leon at Bradford. Lincoln at Trinity Christian. Zarephath at Gadsden County. Jags looking for there's a scenario where the Jags could really, kind of right the ship to close out the season. I already talked about Seminoles taking on the Cowboys at Boot Hill. Lafayette at Trenton. Destin at Chipley. The Tigers looking for another dub in the win column to improve to what would be 7-1 on the year. I know they really want that Holmes County game back. I know they want that one bad. Speaking of Holmes, they'll be taking on Mariana, and the Blue Devils are really sitting in a pretty good spot right now as they've been able to kind of get back after opening the season with 3 straight losses. When you look at Holmes County, there is a universe where they are a touchdown away from being undefeated.
That hurts.
So those first 3 losses were 12-8, 9-8, and then 19-18. And then from that moment on, they ripped off 4 straight. They finished Mariana versus Bluntstown, and then at Alabama to close out the year. I like the Mariana matchup, but that Bluntstown game
it's gonna be a tough.
Other games going on around the area. Liberty County heading down I-10 to take on Jefferson County. Central at Vernon. The Yellow Jackets looking for that crucial first win on the year, taking on Central. And I gotta check Central's record. They weren't. I don't know how many wins and losses. They'll have to look that up. But Vernon looking first victory. FAMU High, DRS traveling out to take on the Gators at Weewah Hitchcock. Lighthouse Christian taking on Sneeds. Rocky Bayou Christian at Graceville, and Osceola hosting Franklin. Teams that are off this week: Childs, Godby, Rickers, Columbia, and Port St. Joe. And that'll do it for week number 9. Thanks for everybody who hung out for the 2-hour show. We had to get the playoff stuff in, but great matchups going on across the area. Well, that will do it for this week's edition of the Extra Point. Guys, I'm looking forward to the games we got matched up this week. I think there's did I miss anybody on the schedule?
Don't think so.
Everybody. Yeah, Central is 0-6. So Vernon, there's a universe where Vernon could get that first victory. So
somebody
gotta win.
Somebody gotta win. Somebody got to win.
That will do it for week number 9 here on the Extra Point. My tag team partners, Coach Cofield, Andrew Jupe, Eddie Quinkers Jr. We'll catch everybody. We're here on Wednesday nights for the remainder of the season, y'all. We're not going anywhere. We're going to make sure we have all of the matchups broken down, including the playoffs. You can catch us on Friday nights as the games conclude, or maybe Saturday morning, depending on how we get the scores in for the 4Q Scoreboard Show. But that will do it for this week's edition of the Extra Point. Everybody be safe. Check out one of those games, especially if you're somewhere in Jefferson County. Hit up the Osceola Christian or the Jefferson County game. Those are great atmospheres. But we'll catch everybody next week on the Extra Point.